Hey everyone, what's up? It's Babylonius from peakofserenity.com here with the fourth video in my Mythic Castle Nathria series. This one talking about Artificer Xy'mox, which might be the fourth or fifth boss depending on whether you go to Sun King or not before this. We elected to go with Artificer next and then Sun King afterwards, so this for us was the fourth boss. Xy'mox is entirely a single target boss. The only exception would be if somebody gets caught in a stasis trap or mind controlled, then it becomes a little bit of a cleave. And then in those situations, you're just kind of rushing to touch of death them to get some of that extra damage off in that regard. So let's just dive right in. This is a fight where you're going to very much want to be saving your cooldowns later. So you want to pop them on pull with most of your stuff, and then you're likely going to be using them with Bloodlust, which happens at around the 3-minute mark or the 250 or so minute mark, depending on your DPS. So you want to save your last set of cooldowns for that. You're generally only going to get 3 rounds of cooldowns throughout this fight, so that's something that you're going to want to be attentive of. It's better to save things a little bit for when you get targeted by things and bloodlust happens, stuff like that, rather than blowing things on cooldown just for the hope of getting an additional use. But as you can see, it's really straightforward. I happen to, on our kill, not get hit with a ton of mechanics. On progression, I had gotten hit with a ton of mechanics, so things are going to be relatively less impactful here. But again, really just single target. You're going to want to avoid these stasis traps on the ground here. They will stun you until people break you out. If you get targeted by this dimensional tear, as you can see, one of our druids and our warriors going off to drop them at the necessary spots. You want to avoid these rifts on the ground. You see here I got targeted by the ghosts. You want to kite them. So you see I get close to just before it catches me. After the seeds explode, then you want to go through. You want to be watching your debuff on the ghosts, because when the debuff falls off, the ghost will still be up and it will still look like they're following you. However, they actually won't be. Well, they will be following you, but even if they catch you, nothing will happen. So you're going to want to be attentive to that. See here I get the dimensional portal, drop it down. You do go through it, you get ported. So having a transcendence down is very useful, which is something that I'm constantly trying to work on and improve in my play. But this is something that you're going to want to be focusing a lot on yourself and doing what you need to do. Every once in a while, the boss will put a glyph of destruction on a tank. The tank will run out. Those are great times to utilize diffuse magic or touch of karma to help your healers out. They do happen regularly enough that you're able to get most of your use out of that. So you see, we pushed into the next phase. So he will shortly be casting Annihilation, and for that you're going to have to run away. So you'll see he puts out these dimensional tears, pops them over on me, which gets very sketchy because I get ported. I also have the debuff on me. So you see I pop my touch of karma there. He's going to pop in what we called the suck, but thankfully I had enough cooldowns, movement speed ones, to get to where I needed to be. So that's a situation where you're going to want to be attentive, call for a grip if you need to, and whatnot. But this is when we're going to push our lust after this seed. So you see I'm just kind of pooling things, pop everything we lust, and go forth into blowing up the boss as much as possible. Once you get past that, there's here's another glyph of destruction, as you can see. I didn't use diffuse magic there, and I really should have because it almost killed me. But at this point, it's just kind of a race to the end. It's not a very difficult fight, but it's one that requires a very intricate dance. So it's one that'll take your raid a couple times, but hopefully once you get it, you'll be able to do the dance. Some of the important things to know is that when the ghosts come out, the ghosts will always spawn behind you. I should say they'll always spawn so that you are between them and the boss. So if, pause this, if the boss is up here, I am down here, my ghost were to be targeted me would be back here. Since my goal is to go up here to this gate, I want to make sure that the ghost spawns as far away as possible. So we are baiting the direction that the ghosts come. So you see here the ghost spawned behind us. I wasn't targeted, but we're going to get another suck. another Annihilation and draw in. So again, you're just going to kind of want to be running as best you can. Windwalker has a lot of tools to deal with this, so make sure that you have the tools necessary to stay alive. And after this, it's just rinse and repeat. That right there was one of the bigger, more difficult overlaps, and after that, the fight really kind of slows down and things happen at a much more manageable pace. It's just about surviving. As you see, Glyph of Destruction went out, so I used Touch of Karma to get a little bit of extra damage and defensiveness in that regard. But other than that, if you were lucky like me to not have to manage a lot of these mechanics, it's a relatively simple fight. I find it incredibly enjoyable. One of the things that I can talk about, because we'll get them one more time before the end here, are the seeds. Windwalker are a very strong candidate for managing the seeds. And if we don't get them, then I'll go back. But because Windwalker has such exceptional mobility, it makes a very strong candidate for the seeds. So a lot of Windwalkers might be asked to run the seeds. Those are the big blue seeds there that you'll see in 10 seconds or so after this suck. So you'll see that, and I was our first backup, but in this pull, we didn't have any that required a backup, which worked out quite well for us. So you see these blue seeds, you're going to want to pick one up and then just run away with it. Windwalker is very good at that. You can put your Transcendence down, run away, and then use Transcendence, Flying Serpent Kick, what have you, to get back to the boss. You see that situation where our tanks had an issue with taunting, so the boss went with them. When the boss follows a tank with Glyph of Destruction, you do not want to follow them. It will get you killed 99 times out of 100 if you follow too closely. So you really want to be very attentive to that and not overdo it trying to get an extra, little bit of damage. Survivability on this is very important. There's really no serious damage check. It's all about people surviving. So you see another Glyph of Destruction went out just at the end. The tank's going to explode it, eats up my Touch of Karma. It works out regularly enough that the boss will eat through your Touch of Karma and cooldowns well. So if you maintain and use them, similar to Hungering Destroyer. Boss hit 0%, 1 health. He continues to damage us, as well as be attackable for a little bit before he ports away. And that's the fight. It's a visually busy fight. I found it incredibly enjoyable. It's maybe my favorite fight in the entire raid, with the exception of maybe Sire Denathrius. But it's a good fight, so hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you don't get stuck on doing the mechanics like the seeds and stuff, but if you do, Windwalker has a ton of options for that, so it shouldn't be too difficult. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. You can check out my other videos here on my YouTube channel. Like this video, subscribe to the channel for information. And when other videos go live, I'm trying to release them with more regularity, certainly. You can check out my other guide videos. Those new ones and other ones will be coming as we go on, as time goes on. And certainly as I continue to kill bosses in Mythic, I'll continue to put up commentary videos about that. So make sure you can check the description for links to my other social media things like Twitch and Twitter, as well as links to Patreon and PayPal that you can support me and the content that I provide. Lastly, there'll be links for peakofserenity.com and the Monk Discord, where you can ask questions, get additional information for all things Windwalker, Brewmaster, or Mistweaver. So again, thank you very much for watching. Hope this was educational for you. And until next time, have a good night, morning, afternoon, whatever it is, wherever you are.